Well, we have Officer Ray Scheidness here today with California Highway Patrol out of the San Juan office. Nice to have you here today.
Good morning, Ken.
And we're going to talk about something that we hope doesn't happen to people, but it can. And a lot of times we don't know the proper way to handle the situation. And that is when, a couple different things you can happen. One, your car just stalls out and you're in the middle of lanes, or you have a flat tire possibly going at speed. So we're going to kind of talk about these different situations and what is the proper procedure for someone to handle this. So first of all, welcome.
Thank you.
Nice to have you here today.
It's good to be here too.
So let's talk about that. You're in lanes and your car stalls out. Maybe you're in stop and go traffic, which that probably happens more often than not when your car stalls.
It does.
But we certainly know it happens when people are going along at at speed, and for some reason maybe they ran out of gas. Who knows?
That happens
too.
Yep.
Car conks out. What do you do? What's the best thing that you can do in the situation you're in?
The number one thing you want to consider is your safety.
Mm-hmm.
And the safest place to be in a situation like that, when you have a mechanical issue with your car, whatever that might be, your car just stops on you for unexplainable reason. Safest place to be is to stay inside that car, because in effect you have a large metal box around you.
Right.
Keep your seatbelts on. It's still going to protect you. That way, if you do get hit while you're broken down in lanes, even in slow traffic, your body's going to be thrown forward in the seat. If you have that seatbelt on, that's going to keep you safe. The law requires you to activate your four-way flashers to let surrounding traffic know that you have a situation that people need to be paying attention so they can avoid you. And then if you can get on your cell phone and call 911 to report the emergency that you have, that does qualify as an emergency, and Highway Patrol will come to you to get you out of the road. However, we need to do that. It's important to to always keep safety in mind, though. If you can get your vehicle over to the right shoulder, that would be the place to go. So if for some reason you're able to get that car started and limp it to the side of the road, if you have to go to the left, sometimes that's the only option as well. We would rather see you go to the right. It's easier for us to access you, and it's actually safer to be on the right side of the freeway than it is in the center. If you get to that right shoulder, again, stay inside the vehicle. That's also going to give you shelter from the environments, protect you from the hot sun on days like today, for instance, or if it's raining outside, something like that. If you do need to get outside of the vehicle, or you're just you can't, for whatever reason, stand being inside it, if there's an embankment next to the vehicle that you can climb up onto and get to safety that way, that's also a good idea as well. But always keep an eye on that traffic. That's where your attention should stay the whole time. And then if you are climbing up an embankment, also keep in mind there are hazards there too. You can trip on wires, sprinklers. There's ice plant. It's slippery. So just keep your safety in mind and watch that traffic. I can't stress enough to keep your eyes on that traffic.
What if you do get over the side and you have a flat tire? Again, sometimes it's not safe to change that. There may not be enough room that you can get over far enough to maneuver, especially if the tire is on the left side of the vehicle.
That's right.
Now, your back is right out there into traffic or facing traffic.
Right.
And if you can't do anything, it's probably best to maybe just bite the bullet and call a tow truck. And
absolutely.
Pay for it.
Most people that we encounter out there have a roadside service that they hire.
Yeah.
We all know of a number of them that we can name off the top of our heads. But if you got your phone, give them a call to respond to your scene. It's important to know where you are so they can find you as quickly as possible. So have an idea of where you're at. Look at the signs that you can see, any other landmarks that you might be able to relate to the person that takes your call. They can change your tire in a matter of minutes, or it may take somebody who's never done it before a half hour or longer.
Yeah.
Or you may get halfway through the task and then not know what to do, and now you're really stranded because you've taken the wheel off the car and don't know how to get it out. Another thing we offer, that the state offers, is the Freeway Service Patrol, also known as FSP. They are trucks, the white colored trucks that say freeway service patrol all over them. And they're tow trucks that roam up and down the freeways and
really?
basically patrol just like the highway patrol does. But they're looking for people that are in those situations where they need a tire changed, or they ran out of gas, or whatever the situation might be. They may find those people sometimes sooner than we do if we're busy on a call or something like that. We don't find that broken down vehicle for a little while. But Freeway Service Patrol is a free service. You could oftentimes, if you call into 911 and say, I've run out of gas, I'm on the side of the road, what do I do? The dispatcher will oftentimes respond, the Freeway Service Patrol driver, to the scene there, and they'll provide you with enough gas to get you off the freeway to a gas station to where you can fill up your car.
Nice.
Or they'll change your tire, and again, they'll change it in a matter of minutes. And usually when they show up, they'll tell you, just stay in the car, what's your problem, where's your spare tire? They'll get all all the things they need to do, to know and get, like the spare tire. They'll change it for you, and you'll be out on your way in a matter of minutes.
That's nice.
So it's good to know.
I did not know of that
Yeah,
service.
that's Freeway Service Patrol. Now, granted, they do have hours of operation. They're not
Okay.
running all day and all night, but they tend to run during the peak traveling hours, the commute times.
Okay.
But in the middle of the night, that's a service that's not available if it's late at night. But that's where a roadside service that you can pick and pay for on your own is a good idea to have.
That's fantastic. 'Cause honestly, I didn't know of that.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know about that one.
And as far as if you are stopped on the side, and we've talked about this before, but you're pulled over by one of your good people for whatever reasons.
Sure.
I know you've said this before, as had the other officers we've had on, don't get out of your car.
Right.
Not only because that you folks don't know their intention by their getting out of the car.
Right.
It may be a very good intention, but the safety reason, right?
Exactly. Again, the safety reason of staying in the car has a number of there's a number of reasons why you want to stay in that car. The traffic, obviously, whether you're broken down or whether an officer shows up, stay inside that car, because that, again, you have that metal box around you. Keep your seatbelt on. If something should happen, you've got that protection. And you're right, when an officer shows up at the scene, like if you are just broken down, and people are often anxious to tell the officer what the situation is, hey, I ran out of gas, or this happened to my car, the officer's always going to come up to you. So stay in the car, keep the seatbelt on, roll your window down so that you can talk to the officer, or unlock your doors, whatever the case is. Keep your hands where the officer can see them. He or she does not know what they're dealing with when they come up to you. They don't know if you're broken down or whether you have some sort of mischievous intentions. Hopefully that's not the case, but we do encounter both types.
Yeah.
So we would ask that you stay in the car and just be clear about what it is that why you're there, and answer the officer's questions. And we're going to do the best we can to remedy the situation and get you on your way again as quickly as possible.
I think one of the main points here is that, especially this time of the year, as far as keeping your car maintained when it's can be 100 degrees out. If you're going somewhere on a lengthy drive, or just your day-to-day commute or whatever it might be, you got to keep your car maintained. Check the gas before you go, right?
That's right, absolutely.
It can be as simple as that, and you're going to be fine. The tire pressure, obviously. Some things are unavoidable. You could drive over some debris in the road, and that can happen.
Right.
But quite often, it's preventable, isn't it?
It is, and it is very important to basic things that sometimes we forget about. Check your gas. If you're going to go on a long road trip, or even if you're not going that far, have a look at that gas gauge. That's why it's there for you. That'll prevent a lot of problems, because we do have people that are thinking that they were just taking a short trip and they ran out of gas, and now they're stuck and they missed the appointment, and a lot of things happen. You can also, like you said, tire pressure. Make sure your windows are clean. And other things, windshield wipers. Granted, it's a hot time of year and we don't see that much rain, but with all the reports of the El Nino rains coming later this year, and also, we've had these thunderstorms that have just popped up out of nowhere seemingly. And if you don't have windshield wipers that are in good shape, you may be having a difficult time trying to see where you're going. Yeah. And of course, good tires, the inflation, but also good tread. If your tires are more than about 5 or 6 years old, you may want to check into getting a new set of tires, because you need to have good tread in order to be able to keep that car going straight, especially when the road is wet. Yeah, in fact, a few segments ahead, we had an eye doctor on, and we talked about keeping your driving privileges. And one of the first things he said is, well, it may be that you simply have a dirty windshield. So you got to keep your windshield maintained. Absolutely. How important that is. Here we are several years into the law of handheld devices, and I still see it.
it is amazing how many times I see people, whether it's on just a street or on the highway, still holding their phone.
Right.
And you just kind of see that and going, wow. And quite often, the reason you notice that is they're kind of drifting over a
Sure,
little bit.
I've seen that plenty of times.
And I know there's a huge fine for that. There's safety concerns. And what other things that as far as you can't hold it,
Right.
but you can certainly have it on a mount.
Right.
Right. And as
Correct.
long as it's not impairing your vision, as far as on the windshield, I've seen on the dashboard most mounts. People put it in the center of the dash. Is that okay?
Yeah, let's back up a little bit with regards to the cell phone.
Okay.
The whole thing about driving with the cell phone in your hand. The officer's going to have to make a judgment call. If he sees that, he or she sees that, and they stop the driver, and they're going to investigate why is that
Right.
phone in your hand, unless
Yeah.
it's clearly obvious to the officer as to that whether you were talking or operating the phone as to send
Yeah.
a text or something. California law does state, the Vehicle Code states that you may not operate a cellular phone device while you're driving unless you're using a hands-free device, and that means either a Bluetooth device,
Right.
which allows you to speak to the car, or a wire to your ear, and it can only be in one ear. You cannot plug both ears, one ear only. Now you're allowed to talk on the phone. Texting, there's just no way to get around that. You
Right.
cannot text and drive. Now the device you're talking about, I call it a phone cradle. I think
Right,
it's-
yeah.
I recommend those to people. You'll see people driving around town with those all over the place, and that's
Right.
because those are legal. You obviously don't want to put it in a position where it's going to obstruct your view or distract you in some way. But a lot of people like to use those because they use their phones for GPS,
Right.
navigation, that type of thing, or playing music, whatever the
Can you
case is.
touch screen? You can touch many nav systems or entertainment system have
You can.
touch screen. So
Yeah.
if it's a touch screen to hit that map or something,
That's right.
you can
That's
do it.
right. But that phone needs to be secured in a
Right.
cradle. You don't want to be driving with that phone in your hand. Again, to an officer, it's going to appear that you're sending a text, and that's of course the
Exactly.
big
In fact,
no-no.
there's one vehicle out there, at least that I know of, the Fiats. They do not come with a navigation system
Is
at
that
all.
right? Didn't know
And
that.
they have a permanent mount that is it's not permanent, you can click something and take it off.
Sure.
But they have inside on the top of the dash.
Okay.
It's a secure mount that they
Nice.
give you. It's part of the car package, and it clicks in there,
Your phone goes in there?
and your phone goes in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, as far as mounting the phone, the safest places actually to put them are in the lower bottom corners of your windshield.
Yeah.
Of course, you're not going to put it on the far right side because you wouldn't be able to see it there.
Yeah.
But in the lower left-hand corner of your windshield is
Okay.
probably the safest place to be. And a lot of these other mounts also attach to some part of the dashboard.
Yeah, they do.
Or the console, where it's actually not on the windshield itself.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you said, in the middle there somewhere where you can actually look at it and
Yeah.
drive at the same time, but not have that up in the way in front of blocking your view.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's important to know that it's got to be a hands-free device. And the speakerphone, we get this a lot. People think that the speakerphone qualifies as that. It does not. The speakerphone is not a hands-free device. So we see people driving down the road holding their phones on the speakerphone.
Right, they're still holding
You're
it.
going to get a cell phone ticket for that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the same as holding it up here.
yeah, no difference.
That's what the vehicle code says anyway.
All right, Ray, good to have you on today.
It's always fun.
And the key thing is here, be prepared. If you're keep your car maintained, and nobody wants to stall out or get a flat tire. Do the best you can to prevent all of that.
Think
And,
safety and prepare. Think ahead.
Yeah.
If you're going to meet folks after a long road trip, call ahead. Let them know you're coming and what
Yeah.
route you'll be taking.
That's a good point.
Just think ahead. Be prepared.
All right. Nice to see you, and
Thank
we'll
you,
see you
Ken.
again in about a month.
I look forward to it.
All right, you take care, and
too.
we'll be right back.